you're ready.
Some newcomers, and you're getting them back on the court now. I guess how's it been so far, kind of with everybody back together?
It's been awesome. I'm so excited to see these guys because you got 8 guys that didn't play last year that are going to be playing this year. And, just to see the new team start to develop its own identity and its own work habits and its own chemistry, and that these guys have came a long ways in a short period of time in all those factors already.
You mentioned 8 new guys this year. How do you begin to develop chemistry among the team?
I don't think I've ever had a team develop their chemistry quicker. We've had some really good teams that clicked together, but I don't think they developed it as quickly as these guys have. I don't know. I think it's a reflection of who they are, but man, it happened quickly.
Scheme-wise, can we expect any changes? Are you having to adjust anything to fit your personnel? Or?
There's always changes in there. There's always adjustments as you get to know your players better and your combinations better. So that's always a work in progress. But it helps now to have more days in the summer with them because then you just know them a little better. And the old days you get there October 15th and there's nothing they could, as a team, there's not much they could do because you hadn't had much of a chance to coach them. Now, you could play a game October 15th probably, and like when we went on the foreign trip last year, we were pretty far along in August, and so there's pros and cons to both of those things, but we manage it pretty well because you don't want it to be a 12-month season on these guys, and you do it a little differently in the summer than you do in the fall.
What's the ceiling for Dylan Anderson, and how does his skill set fit your guys'
style? Yeah, he's just super talented. He's coming in at a level that not many big guys have came into this program at, just because he's 2-time Gatorade Player of the Year. You don't get that award by just being tall. You get it because you're a good basketball player, and he can do a lot of things. And he's just going to be a guy that just gets better and better and better, and expectations will be high for him because of what he's done in the past and because of his ratings and all that. But he'll also be a work in, every guy's a work in progress, and with big guys they keep getting better and they get better as they get older.
What about Javen Buchanan?
Same thing. He's it's an interesting story. He's kind of a late bloomer, had great success at the NAI level, so NAI All-American, and you put him in a place like this where you have more resources. He came from a terrific program that was so well coached, and that's obvious when you get to see him out there and when you get to coach him. But a place like this has more resources for the guy to develop, and that's what I think that's what you're going to see with him.
With Chris Lockett, you mentioned him a lot at the end of the year, how excited you were with his development. Yeah. With the red shirt off, what can he bring in this team?
Yeah, it's an experienced freshman. That's the value of redshirting. He's so much so much better than he was right now, 12 months ago. And that's, there's such an adjustment to college, and he's went through a year, and he's hungry because sitting out makes you really hungry. And I think you're not going to see a guy that looks like a freshman.
How about Dominique? You got a lot of options in the post this year. Is he a guy you've seen competing for starting minutes? You see him coming off the bench like they did last year?
Who's that? Dom.
Well,
he's going to redshirt because he's got a knee injury, and so he'll redshirt. That's a for sure thing, and which is great because with what Omar and Tyson are seniors, so now you got him as plug and play the next year, and he's got a whole year to get healthy, to get ready, and he's already done some really, really good things in college. Was a great player, great student, a veteran guy that's going to be being kind of groomed to take over when those guys leave, so that'll be really valuable.
So how ready is Ugbo to be kind of that backup big?
Yeah, he's another guy that sat out and hungry to go. And he's just, a versatile player that can play a lot of positions. He truly is one of those positionless guys because you can't pencil him into, exactly what he is, but he'll be a wrecking ball. If you've seen him up close, you'd be like, Does that guy play D-line for the Rams or middle linebacker? I mean, he is a wrecking ball out on the basketball court. It's pretty good to have that.
When the season ends, I don't know what your plan was for who might leave or who was coming back or what was going to happen. But when you look at what the roster you had on the floor against Colorado to the roster you're going to have for the first game this year, how do you look at it?
I love it. I mean, our job is to keep bettering this team and bettering this program. And, we bettered it with the guys that stayed here and the guys we added to them, because it's not just about going out and getting your 13 best. It's about ones that fit together and complement each other. And I think we've, you got to give credit to the staff. They've done an amazing job of putting this group together, and we love what we see.
You brought in an experienced point guard in Cardenas. Am I saying that right? Cardenas?
Pretty close.
How important is his presence going to be this season, especially with so many newcomers?
He's just getting done playing with the USA, with the Spanish team, and we were able to watch all those games, and it's just feel for the game, and he's such a welcome. He wants to be a passer. He wants to make guys better. He wants to be a guy that leads the conference and the nation in assists, and he's got the kind of team that needs that, and that's where he fits so well. So you couldn't maybe fit a better point guard kind of guy with a team, and that's what we love about him. I mean, one of those games, I think he had 18 minutes, 6 assists, 1 turnover, and that is what you want your point guard doing when you have all these scorers. Doesn't mean he can't score, because he knows how to do that. He knows how to shoot. He can score, but he loves to pass and make guys better. And he has such a good, he's been taught so well. He has such a good feel and vision of what's going on around him. The whole court awareness is pretty remarkable.
Are people maybe not making a big a deal as they should about a guy like him? I mean, you look at what he did on a team that went 2-16 in league, and those numbers that he put up for them when they went 2-16 in league, and then you put the talent around him, and then you guys like a point guard that can be at least a threat from the outside too, and he provides that, which will help for some other guys too.
Yes, and it's hard to play 5-on-4. You got to have guys, and that's the value of having all these big guys that can shoot like they can, because it just spreads the court so much. And when you have all 5 of them that can shoot, those are your best offensive teams, and that's what we see with him. And he's, the best indicator of the future is the past, and we've got a lot of guys that have produced in the Mountain West, him being one of them, and he's produced at a high level, and he's got the toughness that we need. We had some of that walking out the door, and we added it with him, and the toughness, the experience, and the leadership is hard to get, and some of his numbers stacked up, when you put him nationally against some of the best point guards in the draft and in the whole United States. So we're pretty happy to have him on the squad, and we've got some young guards that are going to learn so much from playing against him every day and watching him every day and playing with him. So the value of that is amazing.
A young guy like Julian, he's coming in as a freshman. What's it going to take for him to get some minutes?
What a great athlete. I mean, this kid could, there's a lot of sports he could play, pretty much pick anyone. But he's also got a great feel, and the range he has will help offset losing Max's range, because Max averaged his average 3-pointer made was 25 feet 6 inches. Julian's that kind of player where he can shoot the deep ones, and that even spreads the floor even more, because you don't appreciate guys sometimes until they walk out. I mean, we do as coaches, but maybe the fans don't. We're going to really miss the way Max could spread a floor out for the other guys, and I think Julian, and we got a lot of good shooters, but his range has really impressed me so far.
Can Andrew be one of those guys? And
Yes.
we saw it in glimpses, but how much is he ready to kind of take that next step?
It's always a big jump from their freshman year on, and I think you're going to see that with Andrew. He's just getting more comfortable. Nobody works hard. Nobody in the country maybe works harder than him, and I got a whole group of that. They're all like that. They love hoops. They love being in the gym together, and that's when you get a talented group of high character guys like that have produced but love to work like that, sky's the limit.
You guys were heading to the Cayman Islands Classic this year. What were your thoughts on the field?
That's great. You know, this day and age, you know, in the old days, you knew who was in the field 2 or 3 years in advance, and it stayed that way. And now everything's just such a moving, shifting target that it, you know, I mean, some of these multi-team events that we've been in, the fields have been amazing, you know, and this is a good one, you know, where it's gonna be a great opportunity, a great place to go, awesome gym, really, really well done tournament. So there's so many things to value there, but you know, sometimes you don't know who you're going to get anymore because you think you're getting this, and then the field changes. And so, but it's an awesome event, and it's going to be a great experience for our guys.
You guys kind of saw it last year with the Myrtle Beach tournament and the Canada tour, but in terms of
We were
building
in
that
Orlando
development,
last year.
you were where?
We were Orlando.
Excuse me, Orlando.
Yeah.
So you were in Orlando last year and Canada. In terms of building that chemistry, how important are these early season games, especially against quality opponents?
They're great, and just to take guys to somewhere they've never been and see a part of the world they haven't maybe, you know, ever seen, and those kind of are lifetime experiences for kids and coaches and, you know, the people, the fans. Hopefully we get some fans down there because it's a great place. You know, last time we were down there, we swam with the manta rays or sea rays, and we kissed one. If you kiss them, it's 7 years of good luck, and I think that panned out. So, you know, we got to get down there and kiss another one.
In terms of the schedule, I mean, not to look back, but what kind of research did you guys do, and when it comes to what the committee is looking at? I know the committee changes a little every year, but in terms of...
I think it talks out of both sides of its mouth sometimes. You know, I talk about hard schedule, you talk about winning road games. We're 7-2 in conference games on the road, beating some quality opponents, and you know, so it's just, let's schedule as tough as we can. That's our formula. We know how to get out large bursts. We know how to do that, and just do our thing, and worry about the human side of the committee. Let them worry about that, because you know, you can't think that you know when it's the way it is, because it's a moving target, and it's super subjective, and they do the best they can. Probably got the top 2 seed lines right, but then there's so many things to juggle below that make it, you know, fluid, and make it maybe a little what depending on what your perspective is as a fan or as a coach, or it's going to seem unfair below that maybe sometimes, but you just keep doing what you do and do it at a high level, keep knocking up the door, and eventually you're going to get the right breaks. And you know, I've been through this a lot, and I've been through it a lot, you know, going way back. One of our teams at Gonzaga, we were 6th in the country, and we got a 6th seed, you know, and it was a terrible seed. We had to play Wyoming in New Mexico. Advantage Wyoming at altitude, which they're from 7,000 feet, had a team in their league. They've already played there, and they were really good in there, you know. So we just had to do it, and well, the next year maybe we got another break, you know. So sometimes you're going to get the bad breaks. Sometimes you're going to get, hopefully, if you go enough times and you keep knocking on the door, you get the good breaks. And you know, this year, obviously, it's panning out now. I mean, Colorado's going to have 3 guys drafted, 2 in the top 18. I mean, it's them and UConn and Kentucky, I think, with 2 in the top 18. I mean, one of them won the national championship. And, you know, so that's a pretty good formula when you have players that are getting drafted in the top 20. That means they were a good team.
But you're not telling you didn't create the scheduling differently this year because of what happened last year? Or?
Well, I don't know what tweaks you could do, because you know, we went out and played great teams. I mean, I think one of the committee members said something about, well, a loss to Clemson. Well, Clemson ended up being an Elite 8 team, you know. So how do you know, what do you do? Not play Clemson? I don't know the answer to that. How do you change that? No, we want to play quality opponents, and you know, we got a ACC team coming to this arena. We're opening with a team that just beat Kentucky in the NCAA tournament, that historically is, you know, got one of the winningest coaches in the history of basketball. So we're going to schedule aggressive. We're going to try to get as many great games around this area for our fans. We're going to try to be on the cutting edge of what as the rules change, to be able to do creative things for our fans, for our players, for NIL possibilities. All these things can come into play, but it's never going to change about us not going out and finding as many great teams to play. Now, the number of non-league games that you're playing is less and less now because we're moving up to 20 games. So, there's an adjustment there. We got to figure that out a little bit.
Obviously, NIL has changed the landscape for a lot of teams in terms of recruiting and retaining talent. There were the reports earlier this year of Abo getting a big payday to go to USC. I'm just curious on what are your thoughts moving forward about your ability to retain talent and how you guys stay competitive in that market?
Well, the great thing about this place is I think we've been ahead of the game in NIL space, and whether it's 6 months ahead or 12 months, we're just trying to be innovative and stay ahead. And our administration's on board, and we've got a unique place here in Boise that supports athletics and supports these student athletes and appreciates them. We appreciate Ashton and Tyson and Omar and these guys that have made a commitment to stay here. And our fans we need to rally if we want to stay competitive at the highest level, because you can like it or not like it, but it's the way it is. And the ones that survive are the ones that evolve, and our programs have evolved, and this university keeps evolving. But we have to just, you have to do it so quickly. As these rules change, you got to evolve with them. And you almost have to evolve in anticipation with what the rules are going to be. Because, like last year, we paid attention to the rules, and guys were supposed to have to sit out a year if they transferred twice, and that rule halfway through the season was gone. So, but how do you anticipate those without breaking rules? So there still are rules, and you have to know what they are, and just be creative and find ways to keep staying ahead of the game.
Those guys get another year now too, right?
Yeah, and they get another year.
It's insane, right?
It's insane. So the ones that got punished were the teams that said, okay, because the NCAA just said, hey, there's going to be no waivers, no waivers, no waivers. That all got blown up, and it changed some teams. I mean, think about it. 2 teams in our league really, really benefited from who they got. So, no doubt, it's a ever-changing landscape, and it's ever-changing daily. So the evolution it's always the most important thing, how you evolve, and you can't just, sit on your porch swing and say, get off my lawn, I don't like this. You got to evolve.